Today I'm going to make you asparagus risotto with a poached egg and Boschetto al Tartufo cheese. A classic pairing with asparagus is I love risotto with it, but also eggs. So one thing they'll do is a dish, they'll say asparagus and bread. Well, they'll just take asparagus, grill it or poach it, and they'll put some fried eggs and Parmigiano Reggiano on there. But eggs and asparagus are a classic, so I'm doing somewhat of a modern twist here, and I'm making asparagus risotto. We'll make a puree, cook the risotto, top it with a poached egg, sous vide style. I'll show you how to cook a perfect poached egg in the shell in your sous vide. And then we'll grate some truffle Boschetto al Tartufo cheese on there just to bring it over the top. Here we are, we have the asparagus. I've washed it, cleaned it, it's really gorgeous. It's organic, and what you do is I'll cut about 2.5 inches off the bottom. These tough stems I don't use, I just discard them. And then what we'll do is we're going to make a puree. So I leave the bands on to make it a little easier to work with. We're gonna cut these guys into pieces, and then we're going to make a puree with it. These tips will go in the risotto at the end to finish it. So I'm just going to trim some of these down a bit, and these will be the garnish for the risotto. Get our pan hot, we're going to add some olive oil, virgin olive oil, to make our asparagus puree. These are spring onions, or they call them spring onions or Mexican onions, depends where you buy them. I love them, they're very sweet, and I like them with peas, I like them with asparagus, fava beans. So we're going to use these today for the puree and for the risotto, because they're extra sweet. Just cut these here. Now we're going to puree all this, so it doesn't matter really how neatly I'm cutting them. I'm cutting them in uniform pieces, and we'll saute the onions. These are sweating nicely. I'm going to add some of the stalks. Add the rest of these here. I'm going to add here hot vegetable stock just to cover, because you want this to be thick. I want it thick, I want it dense, so when I add it to the risotto at the end, towards the end, it doesn't thin it out too much, and it adds lots of bold flavor and texture to it. I'm happy with this. Now I'm going to take this and just put it in a cylinder. You could put this in a bar blender as well and buzz it, right? I just have an immersion blender handy, and I wanted to show you this. So you can put this in here. It's good to put it on a towel so that your container doesn't run away from you. And puree it. Now, I want to embellish it a little bit, of course. It's the Italian way, so I'm going to add some beautiful fruity virgin oil to it. I'm going to put a little bit of parsley. I'm going to put some chives in here. Right? I'm going to put some tarragon, because I love tarragon, and asparagus. And I love basil as well. And I'm just going to plunk some whole leaves in here. All right, we'll give this a taste. That's awesome. So let's get the base of our risotto. So I'm going to put some virgin oil here. These beautiful onions. And then we'll add our rice and we'll toast it. I'll show you what the tostatura is. That means the toasting of the rice, which is one of the most crucial steps in making a great risotto. So again, I just slice these. These are going to melt. These are going to completely almost dissolve while cooking. And there's a few pieces, I'm okay with it. So we're going to add the spring onions, the lovely spring onions. Okay, so again, we want to sweat without color. This is really gorgeous. While this is going, I want to show you a couple of tricks. We're going to, just to make this more over the top, I have some prosciutto. We're just going to crisp it up in the oven. All you do is put on some parchment, or if you have silpat sheets, the fiberglass sheets, or whatever, non-stick. Put them at 400 degrees convection. So I'm going to put a timer on these. I'm going to set them for 14 minutes, 14. So, okay, I got this going. I'm going to add the risotto here. It's about 150 grams of risotto. That's enough for like 2 or 3 people. What I'm doing is I'm toasting the rice, and you can hear it. Can you hear that? Here's what I want you to understand is right now I'm feeling resistance at the bottom. It's like a stickiness almost. It's like almost like sandpaper-like. the best way I can describe it. That's the toasted tortoise. So you want to toast and seal the grains. The reason for this is once you add the wine in the broth, they'll slowly release their starches, and that's what you want. You want to coax them. You have to kind of, you have to charm them. I got this. This is a little spumante, and I would say I just put a half to 3/4 of a cup of the wine, and it's always better. You can always drink this while you're cooking. Now I'm going to let the wine reduce, and then I'll start adding the stock in stages. But I will season it at every stage. I'm going to put some salt, some pepper, and salt. So now that the wine is absorbed, we're going to start adding the broth a little bit at a time. It doesn't need to be boiling broth, just hot. Like bring it to a boil, and you can hold it to the side like I'm doing. As long as it's going in hot. Again, you don't want cold broth in the risotto because then you'll stall the process, and then the rice will get flabby because it'll release all of its starches, not slowly but quickly, right? I have our pancetta, which is in the oven at 400 degrees on the parchment, and that's crispy pancetta. That's beautiful. So it's hot, it's still soft. Once this cools down a bit, it'll be crispy, delicious pieces, and that will be our garnish on top of the risotto. So keep this moving. You don't need to stand here and stir for 20 minutes, but you need to stay pretty close, right? And add stock as needed. For the poached egg, so sous vide poached egg, you can take your eggs, and we're gonna drop them. I have it set to 167, 14 minutes. Timer just went off. I'm dropping the eggs ice cold out of the water into there. When they're done, they'll be perfectly poached. We'll put them on top of the risotto. It should be just about perfect timing. Here we are. I'm going to now add the puree. Nice generous scoop of the puree in there. You want it nice and green. See that? That's beautiful. Here we are at the final stage. We're going to put in some Parmigiano Reggiano. We always finish risotto with a little bit of butter because it adds that silkiness and that beautiful texture to it and the flavor. The rice is just like pasta, al dente. It should be al dente. It should not be hammered or overcooked. Al onda is how they say in Italian the perfect consistency for risotto. Onda is wave, so al onda is wavy, and that's what you want. So now that's ready. I'm going to let that rest. Now the eggs are poached. It's been 14 minutes. I'm pulling them out. I put them on a paper towel. Let's let these rest a couple of minutes before we crack into them. All right, so now for our risotto, I'm going to put some more herbs in it. Chives, tarragon, parsley. This is how risotto should look, folks. Okay, that's how we do it, like that. Now let's check out our poached eggs and see how they did. So after they come out, I like to leave them for about a minute and I do these over a paper towel because it'll always be liquid that comes out. So on the large end is where you want to make an incision, a cut. Cut around just enough. Pop right out on top, just like that. There's our beautiful egg. We're going to, again, I love these herbs. I'm just gonna put a little bit more. I'm gonna tear a few basil leaves there because I love basil and it's so gorgeous. I'm going to put our shards of pancetta, right? A little bit of pancetta does not hurt. And then lastly, the Boschetto al Tartufo. So you can see the beautiful truffles in this cheese. And then I just give it a shower right on top. All right, let's give this asparagus risotto a try. That egg is cooked perfectly. A little pancetta, a little truffle. What else would you want? What else is there? That is delicious. You have to make this so you can try it. It's spring in your mouth.